you do makes a difference, and you have to decide the kind of difference you want to make. Work plays an integral part of our lives. It defines us, elates us, motivates us, but many a times it can be source of all our woes. Happiness and stress are perhaps the two sides of the same coin, or perhaps they're not. This is the question we hope to answer in this season of HR Reflections, a podcast created by Thrive, the HR club of IIM Nagpur, and I'm your host, Adishri. To make this discussion more enriching, I have been joined by my friends and peers, Aakash, Brinda, Mahima, and Subham. Before we begin, could you please tell our audiences a little bit about yourself and your previous work experience? Aakash?
Okay. Hello, everyone. So my name is Aakash Batra. I was an engineering student and I have a work experience of around 3 years in a company called Sopra Steria, where I was working as a developer. And currently I'm studying MBA from IIM Nagpur. Thank you.
Brinda?
Hi everyone, my name is Brinda Harlalka and I'm from Guwahati, Assam. So before joining MBA, I was working at Amazon for about 2 years in an operations role. And a thing about me, I hoard more books than I can ever read. Yeah.
Mahima?
Hi, this is Mahima Kaur. I have work experience in cyber consulting of 2.8 years with one of the big four, KPMG. Currently, I'm pursuing MBA from IIM Nagpur. And apart from this, when I'm not studying or working, I like to dance and cook.
Subham?
Yeah, hi, myself, Subham Bose. I'm currently pursuing my MBA from IIM Nagpur. Prior to this, I have an engineering background and I worked with Tata Steel in the operational management role for 2 years.
Thank you, guys. So I'll start with my questions. The first question that I have for you is, what are the things that created stress at your workplace? Aakash, I think I'll start with you.
Okay. So when you're working in a company, irrespective of the domain like IT or manufacturing or anything, so when you're working straight out of the college, it is your first experience. It was my first job. So first, the initial thing is before work, you have to adjust to the environment, how to work, because you are transitioning from student to a working life. So initially that was a very stressful situation. Like we have to transform, and it minimized for me. It was I took around 2 to 3 months to transform, and I was very casual in the work environment and was not acting very professionally. But meanwhile, I learned that what is the difference between a professional and a student. So initially that was situation. And meanwhile, after talking about in the future, like while I was working in the situations regarding the stress. So regarding the work, there were very situations, and you know and you keep on learning how to deal with that way. So it was a great learning experience.
Shubham, what were the things that created stress at your workplace?
So I worked at a manufacturing plant that had like targets on daily basis. So since the whole job role was output driven and result driven, so that was the that was the factor of stress for me, because each day we had some target to achieve, and if not, the targets got on adding on the next day. So that was the factor of stress.
Brinda, what do you have to say?
Yeah, so I work for an e-commerce company, like I mentioned. So I guess we had a particular time period in a year where the kind of work which we have to meet was on a very higher level. The kind of deliverables were very high. So that was one of the stress factor, and especially if you're just moving out of college life to a corporate life. So I think that can create some sort of stress. But I was lucky enough to have a good working relation with my boss and my reporting manager, and the kind of interaction, and it's very helpful, and also the kind of collaboration which you have with your colleagues. So that also plays a huge factor, I think, while if you're stressed or something.
And finally, Mahima.
So I worked in the consulting world, and as a consultant, you're expected to know it all, and that too at just the first day. So I onboarded as an intern, and I didn't have any prior experience of the field I was going to work in. I worked as a cybersecurity consultant. So it was a stressful environment for me because there was a lot to intake, and there were not no proper trainings or support, I would say. And then consulting requires a lot of long hours and work. So yeah, that all this created stress for me.
So guys, how did you learn to manage your stress, or what are the things that you did to manage the stress that you faced at your workplace? I think I'll start with you, Brinda.
So I'd like to divide this into two parts, professionally and personally. So firstly, professionally, I think I reached out to my working manager and to the colleagues and tried to figure out as to why I was facing a certain issue or certain problem, and then try to solve it. And apart from that, we also had various sessions organized, so wherein leaders from different levels used to come and deliver on how they managed particular situation or conflict. So that was also a learning experience and kind of approach you want to take further. And on the personal front, I think your friends, family, colleagues play a very important part while motivating you or showing you the right kind of path or supporting you basically. So that is, and also indulging in activities which you enjoy doing apart from work life. That is something which is very important. Yeah.
Mahima.
Okay, so first I went back to my colleagues and my seniors. I told them how, like, what are the problems, what are the stressful situations I'm facing, and if they faced in. So, they could relate to me and I could relate to them. So, that helped me to, like realize that, this is not that stressful and I'm just feeling more stressed about this and it's normal. And then I would just go back to my friends because they were at the same position as I was in. And when you see your friends facing the same situations, dealing with the same situations, you sort of feel leveled with them. You sort of feel it's normal because when you feel that you are just alone at a place, then it's more stressful. But when you know that everybody is facing the same situation, it sort of flattens up your stressful curve, I would say. And then I would say that I just took some time out for myself. I would go out, like I would spend time with my hobbies. Apart from, I would do things apart from work that would make me feel good. So yeah, that was it.
Aakash, what did you do to manage your stress?
Okay, so for me, I would say the first thing I would take help if it is a work-related stress. So mostly initially the first step was for me to ask help from my seniors or colleagues, and if that also doesn't work, I just switch off my computer or the laptop and went for a break for half an hour, 1 hour, have my favorite food or coffee or anything which I would like, hear my favorite music, have a walk around 5 or 10 minutes in the field, and after then come back to my station and start work again. And sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't. But at least there is a mental satisfaction break over there, so that you can have a fresh start over there. So that will be for me.
And finally, Subham, what do you have to say?
Yeah, I would definitely agree with the points of Aakash, Brinda, and Mahima. But I would like to segment the stress we had into two different parts. First, for the short-term stress, I used to interact with my colleagues because, like, more or less they were going with the same situation, same kind of vibe which I was going through. So that kind of connection or interaction helped me a lot. And yeah, after works, recreational activities, hanging out with my peers and friends. So that was also a helping factor. And like I would like to also comment on the long-term stress which kept on adding after a hectic schedule or hectic month load. So to cut that out, I usually took leave a short break or went for a short vacation. So yeah, this was how I managed stress during my work life.
Aakash, you mentioned that there was a kind of a physical disconnect, that we were isolated in our rooms. So did everyone feel that because you were isolated in your homes or we were not able to physically meet with each other, there was an increase in stress, or that relieved the stress? What was everyone's opinion? I think we'll start with Shubham.
Yeah, can you please repeat the question, Abhishek?
Yeah, no problem. I mean, when we were isolated in our bubbles during COVID, do you think that created a lot of stress for us or relieved the stress because there was not you were not immersed in your work all the time? So, what was all of your opinion regarding that?
For my case, I personally was not one of the lucky one who worked from home. We had to visit our company for work. But yeah, I can relate it with, like, I interacted with my friends, and I think I answered the question. So those kind of situation, many people focused on their mental stress. If we look back, like, 2 years down the line, we see mental condition has taken up the buzzword these days. And in those COVID time, we tend to explore ourselves. Like Mahima mentioned about, she used her hobbies to cover out the stress. So, like, in the same manner, many people explored that part. And in my opinion, that was a boon to all of us, that COVID period.
But I guess Akash, Brinda, and Mahima were working from home, I guess, right? So, guys, what were your opinion? I think I'll start with Akash this time.
Okay, so for me, initially it was okay. I was very happy that we are working from home. Initially, everyone got that feeling that we don't have to go to office. We can wake up anytime. But 1 or 2 months down the line, we realized how much important it is to have a physical interaction, because when your bedroom is your work environment, so you just wake up in the bed and get a breakfast and start working. There is no proper environment about you feel to work, because I was not getting the feeling, like I was not very enthusiastic about my work at that time, and there was very serious situations I already mentioned that I was a developer, so there were several situations we have in scenarios like there was a like the normal, like production server went down, and we have to interact with client also, and it was a serious impact. If I would like to mention that my client was Airbus, so you can know the how impactful that be, that their application is not working globally. So one such incident was happened, and the global application was down, global production server. So that took around 2 days, and my team from France and we in India were managing from home. They were sitting in France, my French colleagues, and we were sitting in like our homes. So that was a very stressful situation at that point of time. A similar situation happened in the physical environment also when I was pre-COVID. At that time, we were able to manage more easily comparatively when we were working from home, because if we are all sitting in a same environment, it is easier to collaborate. But when you're sitting from home, your mental stress and how to collaborate and similar stuff happens. So for me, that was the situation.
Brinda?
Yeah, so maybe we were lucky for the first part that you get to work from home and all that excitement, and then unlucky later when you realize that it's work from home. So I had an experience of training the new joinees in my team. So in that perspective, I realized that how difficult the transition can be, for a new joinee when you join a company and office. So basically, what all of them mentioned, right, before me, that you can just walk down the office space and figure out, you want to collaborate with somebody, you just walk out to them and you have the problem solved. But in the online medium, that becomes a lot of problems. So, and same for the new employees, they don't even know the whom to reach out, or what is the issue and how to solve maybe a tiny of thing, but that's causing a lot of confusion to them. So I think the transition part played a lot of importance, and physically, if it was there, it was a very smooth process. So that was something which was deferred because of COVID, and that's one issue. And apart from the I think work from home made us, a lot of us, very the sedimentary lifestyle which we got into, just working from home and not able to meet our friends and colleagues. So that also kind of impacted the way we work. Yeah, so that's another thing.
Finally, Mahima.
So it was a mix of both for me. Like initially, it was fun. You were making a lot of dishes with your family. You got to spend a lot of time with your family. But then, just work took over. It was just 2 months of happiness. And then, it was all work and no play. That, as Akash mentioned, that, the line between your personal life and the work life, that was just like gone. So it became a lot more stressful. Yeah, that was it.
I guess we all saw that line that we have prepared that, okay, 7 p.m. we stop working. That became like 12 p.m., 12 a.m. Then every time you're just on call every single minute. So finally, I'll have to ask this question. Does a stress-free environment enhance productivity? Do you think if there is no stress, then you would be a better person, or you would be a better worker? And this time I'll start with Shubham. Shubham, you were working in a manufacturing sector, and you mentioned that it was high competition, high target job. What do you think, what role stress plays in that?
Well, although there are many points about the negative sides of the stress, but there are, in my opinion, some positive sides also. Like, I would like to take, since we are in our student phase, I would like to take the example of the exam season. So what we all might agree with the fact that we usually gets too much performance driven and too much want to study too much study driven during our exam seasons only. Rest all the years we all tend to chill and do our usual stuffs, hang out with our friends. So same is the case which happened with me during my corporate life. Whenever we had target, like during the month end, usually uh, the performance with similar resource, similar efforts, I would say, the similar resource and the similar time, the performance was very much improved for each of the employee. So yeah, in my opinion, stress in a positive manner, although has a bright side also.
So Mahima, will you concur with Shubham that stress can have a positive effect?
Yeah, like I agree with Shubham. It can have positive effect. See, it actually depends upon how a certain person deals with stress. Some, take it positively, increase their productivity, and some, can't handle it properly. Like they don't know how to handle it, which causes problem and which, degrades their productivity. So yeah.
Brinda?
Yeah, I completely agree with Mahima. Like it depends on the kind of person you are and how you take the stress. So, but for example, if, like Akash mentioned earlier that, working from home, you're working from bed, you're not logging in at time, maybe you're just, kind of working at your own schedule. So till the company, imposes some kind of a rule, it's all cool. But when the company starts monitoring your productivity and all, it kind of induces that stress because you're not able to manage the timing things properly, right? Because you're working from home and you have certain things at home, you have your office, the meeting times and all of that. So if there's some sort of stress, what I believe is that if you are under any sort of stress, it might reduce your performance a bit. And you might not be able to give your 100% at work is what I believe in. And it could be anything. It could be work. It could be, any kind of other issues which you face at workplace. It could be a minor of issues, but it might impact your ability to deliver work. So that is one of the other things which I believe in. It could have a negative impact as well.
Finally, Aakash.
Okay, so for me, it was mostly positive impact. So initially, when I started during the work, in the initial first year, as I was a fresher coming from college, so it was very difficult for me to manage the stressful situation. So in the initial year, I have to take help from my colleagues, seniors. But meanwhile, I had experience around 1.5 year. I was able to manage situations by myself with the minimum support from my team members. And apart from, for me, I would years, the mostly major things I've learned because of stress. I only remember those stressful situations on my 3 years, 5 to 6. I do not remember when I was working smoothly 3 or 4 months. I do not remember even one day what I have done because that was going very smooth. There is no memorable memory from it. So all the memories are from these stressful situation. And today what I'm a person is regarding my job. From that moments only.
Brinda, do you want to say something?
Yeah, I have a point to add here. I think it also depends on the kind of stress you're going through. If it's only work-related stress, it's a different thing. But if you're going through a harassment issue, for example, it's a totally different thing and can affect you in a totally different way. So, for example, I think it depends on the kind of stress, the kind of person you are, and the kind of tools you have at your disposal to solve those things. I think it's a combination of everything, in my opinion.
Yes, Brinda, I think I could not have concluded better myself. But as we reach towards the end of our podcast, I would like to end this on a very happy note. So tell us about an experience or any achievement that you did in your work life that according to you was the most, that gave you happiness and elated you. And I'll start with Aakash this time.
Okay, so I would like to again mention the scenario with like because in being a developer, any developer from the whole world, all developers almost face the same situation. The most happy moment is when you're facing an issue for 2 or 3 days and suddenly that goes solved. And the feeling is, I can't describe that feeling in words. I certainly can say, and any developer can relate to this. Like it was around last January 2021. I was working. It was winters at my place, and I was working. I started working 7 in the morning because I was facing an issue, and I was stay straight working till 11 p.m. without and dinner. I did my dinner at 2 a.m. in the morning. My mother cooked. So that was time when I was not able to. I was not able to. I was not even going out of my home, even my room, because that was very. That is and I'm not saying this is a rare thing. In a developer's life, it is a very normal thing. Every developer faces this issue 2 or 3 times a year, being in any working environment. So that was the most stressful situation for me.
Brinda, what do you have to say?
Yeah, so what I can remember right now is like once I proposed a solution which was not yet implemented, like at that point of time, but my manager did send out an appreciation mail, and tagging the whole team and all of that. So that was a very big thing for me, even when the results are out, kind of being appreciated for the kind of efforts you make. So that is one of the happiest moment I can think of.
And Mahima?
Okay, so it was just 6 months into KPMG, and I got to lead an important project. It was a 50 lakh project for the company. So I got to lead the project and, streamline the process. I had, my juniors working with me, and I was able to deliver the project very successfully. I got appreciation for that project, and even I could fetch one more project for the company. So that was a very big thing for me.
I think this can be added into Mahima's long list of achievement that we all see her as. And finally, Subham, what would you have to say about your things that created happiness in your workplace?
So while I was working in Tata Steel, I was given the 3 months consecutive best performer award. So that was the kind of achievement moment for me. And as I mentioned, that all the stress part of at the end of the day, when you achieve something, then this all the stress part seems worth. So yeah, that was the thing which I felt.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for joining us today. All your wonderful insights are much welcome, and your contributions are dearly appreciated. And I hope we will join each other again. And this is how I would like to conclude this chapter of HR Reflections. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you so much.
Thank you, everyone.